나타나지 않았고 하지만 네 저글링이 뒤를 감쌌다 했죠. 맹독충 확장이다 정찰 주셨고요. 해병 산계 좋아요.
산계까지 컨트롤해주고 있는 고현 선수.
정말 잘했어요 방금. 아니,
자 산계
해병 너무 많은데요. 일단은
자 시작됐습니다. 산계 다시 한번.
뭐 해병이 너무 잘 찢어가지고.
네. 야 움직임 보세요.
포화장이 있는지 없는지를 제대로 못 봤다고 생각하고 송혜도 선수가
네. 이제 8강 진출할 수 있는 기회인데요.
그렇죠.
정지 선수.
네, 차라리 일벌레를 안 잡았더라면.
그렇죠. 정지 선수 안쪽에 맹독충까지 준비를 하고 있습니다.
도발이죠 대놓고 이거.
그렇습니다.
막을 수 있으면 막아봐. 보고 있니 그 일벌레야 이거죠.
그렇습니다.
너를 위한 선물이야.
귀를 완전히 막고. 야, 일벌레만 잡아주겠다는
괜찮죠. 하면서 이후에 뭐 강력한 한 방을 계속 노리고 있어요.
예, 김학 선수 지금 빠르게 들어가야죠. 일단 제이멀티 1,2전 양상의 경기 분위기. 일단 김학 선수의 병력도 막강하고 신정민 선수의 병력도 굉장히 많습니다.
네. 하지만 신정민 선수 싸워주겠다는 뜻은 우리가 이겼다는 것을 다시 한번 더 검증하고 있다는 거예요.
역전 깔끔하게 정리해주고 있는 김학수 선수.
충분히 대응이 가능하거든요.
이런 싸움은 테란이 절대 싸우지면 안 되는 싸움입니다. 이거.
예, 양 선수의 컨트롤 싸움인데 일단 우려선 한기가 있기 때문에 그래도 도움을 많이 받고 있는 상황이에요.
컨트롤 추적자 막고 있는 추적자 잘 빼주고 있고요.
네.
양쪽에서.
야, 마지막 전투. 일단 프로토스의 병력 굉장히 많고요.
네, 전장관이 또 2개나 있어가지고 해병 건설하고 녹이고요. 우경철 프로토스의
이쪽. 자, 네.
프로토스
신성이.
네. 자, 역장 쓸 수 있는 파수기에는.
이거 바퀴가 정리되어버리면 감염증 나오나만 합니다.
야, 역장 이용하는 거 보세요. 자, 역장
아래쪽 바퀴만 잡아주면 될 것 같고요.
아니 하나를 우와 싱검다리처럼 쳐주면서 병력 일단 효율적으로 구성해주고 있는 박지원 선수.
일벌레 동원도 늦었거든요.
네.
추적자 동원.
All right, everybody, welcome to Seoul, Korea. This is the GSL quarterfinals for Code A. I am Do, with me is Wolf. And wow, we've had so many amazing games this season.
Yeah,
just looking at that highlight reel.
That highlight reel just really reminds you how everyone got here, what they did to get here. We saw some all-ins in there. We saw some awesome holds by Sage.
Force field micro.
Yeah, awesome force fields. Oz, you got to see him do battle with roaches from two sides.
A little bit of that heartbreaker game with Liquid Hero.
Yeah.
It's still kind of painful to remember. But yeah, so many great games to get this far. It's the round of 8. This is probably one of the coolest rounds of 8 I think we've ever had because we've got a TVT, we've got a PvP, a ZVZ, and then a PvZ. So we've actually got a mirror matchup with every race today. When's the last time that's happened? I don't think that's ever actually happened.
I don't think that's ever happened before.
Yeah.
So get your notebooks out if you struggle with your mirror matchup.
That's right.
Maybe you'll learn something today of watching these guys because these are all best of 3, so we're going to see all sorts of different openings from these guys.
Yeah. I'm sure we're going to see quite a bit. We're going to watch our TVT first.
Yeah.
It's going to be
SC versus GuMiho.
That's right. Darth Vader versus Obi-Wan. GuMiho, he was like trained by SC or whatever, but now he's fighting him.
Yeah, man.
So it's going to be like, the circle is now complete, old man.
Yeah, they're going to meet each other.
Yeah.
The Death Star.
That's right, the Death Star.
Obi-Wan is going to pull out his lightsaber. It's going to, of course, SC. He's going to point it. In the old version of the movie, it looks like he keeps turning his lightsaber on and off.
That's
He's like
right.
poking at him.
It's like the angle, like when he turns it towards the camera, it like looks like it doesn't light up anymore.
When I was a kid, I was like, "Is this your strategy, Obi-Wan? Like you keep turning the lightsaber off and you turn it on, and he like jumps back, like he's scared." I don't know.
Bad strategy. Maybe that's why he lost. I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't win that fight. He had to give up.
You know what that actually is, Wolf?
What's that?
It's the magic of rotoscoping. That's actually the effects thing that they do to make the lightsabers work. That's what they used to do. I mean, now they just use computers and things like that. It's still called rotoscoping, but it's digitally done. Back in the past, they had to go in and paint it on every frame. It was very meticulous. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was just a bad angle there for that lightsaber.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
The way they filmed it really affected the outcome of the battle, I think, though.
Yeah, but I mean, can you really blame Darth Vader for being mad at Obi-Wan after Revenge of the Sith or whatever? He's burning and stuff, and Obi-Wan's like, "Yeah, see ya." He,
well,
just walks away.
before I knew why that happened, I actually, as a kid, I was like, what's the significance of this? I'm like, is Obi-Wan's force powers get weak? Like
this means something.
I'm like, his force is not as strong as Darth's right now? Is that why his lightsaber can't work properly, or is that his strategy? I was always trying to figure that out.
Well, he was like, now I am the master, so maybe I kind of think that's how it is for GuMiho too. I think he might have a little bit of an edge here. We'll
I think
see.
so, man.
Let's take a look at our brackets. Of course, we do have MVP SC versus FXO GuMiho. And we also have Slayers of Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus StarTale Curious. It's our ZVZ. And for our PvP, it's going to be TSL JYP versus FXO Oz. And for our last non-mirror matchup, thanks for screwing it up, guys. It's FXO Lucky and NS Hoso Sage. That should be very cool, though. A lot of people, a lot of Protoss putting their hopes and dreams on Sage. So we'll have to see if he can come through. He's played really well so far.
He really has. I'm looking forward to see how he comes out here today. I think it's going to be a really close match, one of our closest matches for today.
Yeah.
Now, our first match, like you were saying, SC is kind of like the old master of GuMiho. You can see a lot of SC and GuMiho's style in all the matchups
really
that GuMiho plays. When you watch GuMiho, you're like, oh, I think I see a little bit of SC in him. Now, SC obviously, we said he's like the master. He's like Obi-Wan.
He's like the Obi-Wan, yeah.
Obviously, he was hospitalized recently.
Yeah.
And he's recovering from that. So he's been a little bit rusty. He's still playing pretty well in Code, but he has definitely been a little bit rusty. You can see it in his play a little bit. He's not like Darth Vader, though. He doesn't have like a suit on. He doesn't have all these mechanical things. He's totally fine. He's back to normal now.
More like when Luke got attacked by the Wampa and he had to go in the back of the tank for a little while. He was like wearing the big diaper for a little bit and floating in the liquid. He's out now.
That's exactly what it's like, man.
There he is. He's wearing clothes. He's not wearing the little back to tank diaper.
Ooh, look at that new MVP shirt. I really like that. The old MVP shirt, I liked it, but it felt a little plain. This looks really cool. Whoever designed that, props to you, man. That is a really cool design. You can see the complexity logo at the top left as well.
Yeah, that's really cool, man.
That is a really cool jersey. I like that a lot.
I don't know. I actually really like. I mean, I used to be a graphic designer, all right. So I like looking at all the designs that teams come up with for their logos and their clothing and stuff like that. Especially StarTale, one of my favorites.
But you can see SC advanced here with a 2-1 win over Revival. The last win there being Metalopolis 2-gate. I mean, not 2-gate, 2 barracks. And of course,
that's next.
Pretty much just out macroed Select. I watched those games, and it looked like he just out macroed Select a little bit.
Played a lot of risky things too, so
very
that kind of swung things in
and
favor.
GuMiho 2-0ing both Kyrix and Monster. Kyrix, a player who's always been around, he'll always live on in our hearts.
That's right.
As the guy who showed everyone how to do baneling aggression, and of course beating Monster. Player's not too bad, not too good. I mean, he got into the round of 16 with a win over MC, not the most impressive thing, and then now, of course, just lost to GuMiho, and GuMiho, we saw the highlight reel. I mean, GuMiho looked like he just wrecked him, man.
Well, you want to talk about a matchup where GuMiho looks like SC. TVZ, man. He plays Terran versus Zerg almost identically to how SC prefers to play it, too.
And remember, GuMiho actually just took out NST in WCG with a completely different mech style, and it was awesome.
It was extremely cool. I believe he was even using things like Seeker Missile against Broodlords and stuff like that.
I watched that game live. That was sick, man.
Yeah, this guy is awesome. They call him the Towel Terran. He actually has a towel over his mouse while he uses it.
That's why they call him the Towel Terran. Artosis actually first coined that nickname.
Yeah.
All right, well, here are our maps.
Sorry, I was distracted by the fact that they have little pedestals for the little figurines now.
Yeah, they do.
Little crystal shrines.
Yeah, the little marines up on the pedestals.
But there are indeed the maps. Dual site Daybreak, and if we need it, new and improved Terminus.
New and improved.
New and improved. Spiffy, you don't need the old Terminus. You only need one Terminus. Looks like we're about to move into our first map, though. Dual site GuMiho versus SC. Student versus Master. Who is going to come out triumphant? Let's find out. It is Code A, round of 8. All right, over on the left side of the map, they call him MVP Ben now, but he used to be known as Obi-Wan. He is
MVP SC.
Oh, they're using new voices for
I really like that.
Awesome. I like that too. This Marine. He's a bit taller now. Around this side of the map. I feel something. A presence I've not felt since.
에펙소 구미호.
Now let's not forget, GuMiho actually used to play random.
Yeah, that's right. I did forget about that.
And he was actually the first random player to appear in the GSL. He started for FOU in the very first season of Team League, and his team was then promptly all killed. But
well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Right. So always got to remember these things about these players. These guys have been around a while, both of them, really. And SC was a player who was in Code S for quite some time, and now GuMiho kind of overshadowing him a little bit here, and I have to say GuMiho is really the favorite of this matchup today.
I would agree. His play has been really, really, really smart lately. You mentioned earlier, SC had a little bit of medical trouble. He spent some time in the hospital, didn't get to practice quite as much. So all those things give GuMiho, I would say, a slight edge. But, you know, it is going to be really close.
It's going to be really close. Yeah. Now, GuMiho is going for gas first. He started his barracks, of course, afterwards, whereas SC is going for a very normal opening. This may mean that GuMiho wants to go for super fast close Banshees. It's a two-player map, of course. The Banshees on this map are quite good. There's a lot of area for them to hide, but at the same time, when you harass the main, there is a pretty wide area behind the minerals, so it's easier for Marines to repel them, for turrets to, of course, get vision.
That's absolutely true, yeah.
And on the same token, the mains are pretty large, so Hellions can do quite well, but Blue Flames are, you know, not quite as popular as they were before. It looks like SC wants to do a Reaper expand.
Yeah, and you know, this isn't a bad map for it at all. There's actually a lot of cliff area outside the mains that you can jump the Reaper and get in, get a good scout going. If you're lucky, maybe even kill an SCV or two. But yeah, really good opening to do some scouting, get some map control. Not bad at all.
There's that Reaper now, on its way.
And there's the command center for SC. In just a second, it will go down. Okay. He sent the SCV over a little bit early.
Yeah, a little bit too early.
Yep. It's all right to do that once in a while. It could have returned 10 more minerals by now, Wolf.
Well, GuMiho has added a tech lab to his barracks. And it's looking like he's going to go for Pre-Igniter here.
Yeah. And Pre-Igniter is something that a lot of people are wondering, well, are we going to see this, you know, after the patch? Because is there really a reason to get it early? Because it's still going to take the same amount of shots to kill something,
right? Even
with +1 weapons on your vehicles. So it's like, why get it really?
Well, actually, it looks like GuMiho, he's deceived me. He's actually building his starport on top of the tech lab.
Yeah.
Now, it is going to be Banshees. Now, Banshees against a Reaper expand opening can be quite good. In fact, it's almost one of the best build order type situations you could get yourself into because your opponent doesn't have very many Marines. A lot of people will get stim. Ooh, nice. Catches the scout. That's why he kept that Reaper on the watchtower. But on the other hand, now GuMiho knows to position his Marines to block a scout.
Very true. But, you know, he's putting him in the most obvious jump-up place. Now, a player like
actually is continuing to make Reapers, man.
Oh,
he's made 2 Reapers, now he's got a 3rd one on the way.
Right. Oh,
and that's
this
actually
is getting really interesting.
That could, of course, work out really well if he can do damage to the Marines of GuMiho, but on the other hand, that means he's not going to have any Marines at all when the Banshees arrive.
You're right. This game is getting quite interesting already. I mean, because if you can jump the Reapers in, I mean, 3 Reapers will one-shot a worker. So, you know, if you can get past some Marines, you can do some damage. GuMiho's doing a good job of putting his Marines in the right place to prevent that from happening. We'll see how well it goes.
Here we go. 3 Reapers coming up the right side. 3 Reapers versus 2 Marines works pretty well, but there's a Banshee in the house.
Oh, and the Reapers make a run for it. One gets taken out, and yeah, this opening ending up not working out too well at all for SC.
And you know what? Back at SC's base, he has been producing Marines ever since, of course, those Reapers came out, but he doesn't have very many of them. His stim is halfway done. His factory is just starting, so he's not going to have a Viking whatsoever to deal with this. He doesn't have an engineering bay either, so GuMiho might be able to just control this game from here.
Well, this is really interesting to see. I'm curious to see if he's going to have enough Marines. It looks like he barely might.
He's going to have enough Marines to ward it off, but he's going to lose a lot of them, and it looks like GuMiho's never really going to be able to kill SCVs, and when Stim finishes, of course, the Banshee is going to be at risk of dying, so you got to be very careful. And not the best control by GuMiho there. Well, does pick off some Marines.
This timing by SC is really tight with these Marines. He just barely has what would be considered quote-unquote enough to handle this Banshee.
And he bought time with the Reapers. I mean, that's part of what happens. He's taking out several of these Marines here. Nice control on the Banshee. This is why it's so difficult when you don't have Stim. And it looks like he's going to kill maybe 2 more Marines, and they just have to get out of there.
Yep, Stim just finishing right about now.
Yep, and of course with only 4 Marines, he has to be very careful. He's actually produced a few Marauders as well. The Banshee, though, does decide to leave.
And there's a scan going down from GuMiho. Wants to see what SC has.
And in
GuMiho
total,
is now getting cloaked for his Banshee.
Yeah, he's getting cloaked. Until this one Banshee that he made was able to get 8 kills.
Yeah.
He only made 1 Banshee, and now he's actually moving Hellions out across the map, knowing that the Marine count is somewhat low, but he's got to be careful because there are Marauders at the top of the ramp. I don't think trying to go up the top of the ramp would be a good idea. I don't think that's his plan, though.
I don't think that'll work out too well, and I think he knows that. You know, he got a good look at SC's base. He knows that he should better off just kind of use these to kind of delay the expansion for a little bit.
I'm kind of surprised he went with the cloak because he scanned, he saw the starport timing, he knows Vikings are going to be out.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh-oh, here we go. These Reapers, these Hellions take out a Reaper, but the Marauders are controlled really well by SC, and he is going to catch 2 of these Hellions. Will he kill them? Will get 1, but the other one does escape with his buddies.
Yeah, it looks like GuMiho wanted to see if he could get in there and roast a good amount of Marines. They were kind of lined up, but yeah, SC did a great job moving his Marauders out in front. And he's still making Banshees, so that's kind of interesting. I think the idea here is that if GuMiho can kill a lot of those Marines, you know, then you just are left over with Banshees versus Marauders, and that obviously is really good for GuMiho, and he has Cloak on top of that as well. So that's kind of the intent, it looks like, but with good Marauder control, it's going to be pretty tough to make that happen.
It's not going to be as easy as bullseyeing Womp Rats and his T-16 back home, that's
Hey,
for
those
sure.
are only like 3 meters wide, man. That's tough, I've heard.
Well, there is a turret going up for SC. It's going to finish just in time to protect this natural from the Banshees. Look at that. Just in time. Cloak goes down, but of course with that turret there, a little bit of miscontrol there. I think he wasn't able to see the turret because the mules dropped on top of it. Now he's going to take out some of these Marauders, and the Hellions are running in here. This is so many Hellions. They do have Blue Flame.
This could work, actually. We'll see. Oh, I feel like...
And now, of course, units are outside of the range of the turret.
Now, this is good by GuMiho, just to pull back and not engage after the units of SC stim. I mean, that's damage that's going to use up energy on the medevac. It's going to take a while for them to heal up again. And
yeah, now he's going to send the Banshees into the main, bring his Hellions back home, probably going to repair some of those.
Well, I feel like we might see him do a little bit more of a push, too, now that those Marines are softened up a little bit. See if he decides to hit the natural as well.
Cloaks gets both of those out of there, forces another stim.
I love how careful GuMiho is being with his units here. He's not wasting anything.
Absolutely not. He's lost very few units this game. Right now he's got 3 factories back at home. His 3rd one's just finishing up. He's got a starport with a reactor now. Adding a 4th factory. Right now supply-wise he's up 20 supply, and he's got total control of this game. He's in a position where he's already got the tech that he needs to control the game, because Bio versus a mech style is not very good. It's not going to work very well.
Yeah, I mean, especially on a map like this.
Oh, look at this. Jukes the units.
Oh, he causes 1 Marauder to stim, and it looks like he's going to lose a Hellion as well.
Nice reaction by both players there.
Yeah. Could have been a lot different. That's a situation where you'd see a lot of lesser players just engage and like take their hands off the keyboard, cross their fingers, and be like, "Oh, I hope I win."
Yeah. Both players being very careful here. Now GuMiho, though, is going to sneak around the side again, but there are siege tanks there. He scans, he sees them, and is going to go home. He wants to catch these units in the middle of the map and do damage to them. He just wants to do it the right way, though.
This is a good map for mech versus bio too, because there's not you can kind of control the running paths a little bit easier. It looks like SC tried to drop it, didn't quite work out.
Denied.
Oh.
And GuMiho has actually been hiding the majority of his Hellions until now. Now he's showing them, saying, "Look how many Hellions I have."
That is a lot of Hellions. You know, that's something we've been seeing a little bit more often in PvP lately. And if he kills all these Marines,
right now the units lost is 1,542 for SC to 550 for GuMiho. 3 times as many units lost. GuMiho is ahead by 26 supply, not really because he's been out-macroing SC, but just because he has not lost any of the units that he has made.
That's such good unit conservation. If you applied that to like recycling, he'd be Captain Planet, man.
Yeah, he would, and here we go. He's going to kill a lot of Marines here.
And if he kills these Marines, the Banshees are going to just win.
And look at this siege tank sieging up. He's attacking while the units retreat, even doing damage to the medevacs here. It looks like he's going to just barely win this fight with his Hellions alone. Pulling back the Banshees, doing a ton of damage. He even has a Raven here. It has an upper point defense drone.
Yep.
Can catch that medevac, doing a great amount of damage there.
That's what happens. You just pile up on the Hellions. This is the style we've been seeing a few times. I think we're going to see it a lot more in the future. Just very heavy in heli, combined with a lot of air. it's working pretty well so far. The games I've seen it in, it seems to do pretty well if it's controlled right.
Now, right now, GuMiho is pushing maybe a little bit too far forward. Wants to bait these units into his siege tanks, but he's just going to engage with point defense drone here. A lot of the Marauder shots being absorbed, as well as the Viking shots. Now his Banshees are doing a ton of damage. He's going to try to run down these siege tanks. He might be able to do it.
Oh, both the Banshees actually taken out. Never mind, there's one left over.
And it's not going to be able to do it. The Banshee decloaks, realizing that's not necessary anymore.
Oh, gotta be careful though. The Marines take out the Banshee.
And now the Marines are actually doing a decent amount of damage to the Vikings, but even so, GuMiho has traded so efficiently with this fight.
Very true, very true. 20 supply ahead for GuMiho right now. Has to pull back. It's about time to do that, but you know, he did the damage that he needed to do. He weeded out a lot of the bio units.
He's known GuMiho's had a third command center up for much longer than he has, but he's making sure he can't move it. Now his command center is done. He's got a lot more opportunity to more freely take that third base, whereas SC is really pressured right now.
And you know how many SCVs that SC has killed?
How many is that?
One. Only one SCV to the 10 that GuMiho has killed. That's pretty good too.
That's pretty good. But right now the worker count is 56 for SC to 51 of GuMiho, but he hasn't had to make extra ones for losing them. And these Vikings are actually going to possibly scout this command center. Actually going to scout the entire army moving, going to catch the medevacs in the back. Nice positioning on those Vikings. Forced a few Marines to stim as well. Now the third base of SC has been taken, but he has to move his army into two different locations. It's split up into two groups. He has to defend his natural against the Hellions, but at the same time, he has to keep siege tanks to defend his third, whereas GuMiho can take that third base for free.
Yep, and that's pretty much exactly what he's doing right now. SC really can't put any pressure on him. Free third base is never a bad thing at all.
But SC is switching into a more stable composition. He's starting to add more tanks in the mix. Yeah, sure, he's still making bio units, but he's going to add more factories here very soon as that third base goes up. He needs to switch into more mech-style play.
Well, this is something that I've been kind of looking at lately, actually, in PvP, is there have been some players that have been going bio into mech. Now, this Banshee's actually going to get a couple kills here, but, oh, no!
Oh, he stemmed all those Marines.
Okay, there we go.
And had to scan after losing a tank, but the Marines are out of position when the Hellions come in to the third base, doing so much damage, killing all of the SCVs here. And they are all going to escape too. Not a single Hellion even damaged.
Blue Flame Hellions are alive and well, man. When you get that many of them, it's barbecue time. But I've been kind of musing over the idea of going bio into mech. We've seen a couple turns try, but not really very many have.
They just haven't found as much success with it.
Yeah.
It's a very difficult switch to make because if you switch at the wrong time, you just end up getting overwhelmed. Now, I like this by SC. He's moving around near his sensor tower where he knows the enemy's units are not. He's actually going to go over here and take this watchtower, but GuMiho's repositioning himself. His tanks are in a good spot. His Hellions can always do damage while SC is retreating. SC avoiding stimming here.
Yeah, and GuMiho's trying to get him. Hell, too.
And look at that, just a lot of damage done by GuMiho. He's totally controlled this engagement. Moving his tanks, and SC has nowhere to run. GuMiho's prepared at every turn. Is on the other side of these line-of-sight blockers. He has Vikings, though, and he can see.
Yep, they can see right over those bushes, man.
I see through your lies, SC. Meanwhile, more Hellions for GuMiho. Look like they're about to assault the third base yet again of SC.
That is a bio ball if ever I've seen one. They're actually even round.
Yeah, man. It's going to start rolling. They're going to clump up like in the movie Ants, where the ants get in the ball.
The Marauders form like a thick, tasty candy shell, and the Marines are like on the inside.
It's like a Wonder Ball, you know, that surprise you're going to get.
Sorry,
like a battle cruiser pops up, you're like, oh, that's lucky.
It's like one of those cream eggs, you know, you get at Easter and stuff. It's like chocolate on the outside. It's like weird cream stuff on the inside. No one
Yeah, I
really
never really liked those.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, you know. It's like, well, this is good, but I don't know what this actually is. Is it just
yeah,
like
it's a mystery, man.
a bunch of chemicals, or is it actual flavor? I don't know. We're not gonna find out about that. But
Yeah,
look at
this battle is going to
bio.
go wildly in GuMiho's favor. He's got his tanks spread out so well here.
I think you're right.
And the bio just melts to GuMiho's siege tank line. GG! GuMiho takes game one, totally controlling every engagement, had a superior composition, took a safer expansion.
Yeah. GuMiho just played that really, really well. Really interesting opening style using the Vikings and the Banshees and the Hellions.
GuMiho once was the learner, but now he is the master.
He is indeed. And SC is like, come back to the light side, GuMiho, but it might be too late, man.
Might be
GuMiho
too
is
late.
more machine now than man.
I know, we might be seeing a glowing rendition of SC in the
I
future.
think so. Like at the end of Code 8, like
That's-
shows all the people from the earlier rounds that got knocked down. They're all like shimmering in blue.
Is Drewby like Luke Skywalker now, and SC is he's gonna have to get advice?
I don't know. If like a Protoss wins it, he's gonna like look over to the side of the studio, and MC is gonna appear in blue, and he's just gonna be like smiling a little bit. Yep, I guess we know what's gonna happen already now. So yeah, GuMiho taking game one pretty convincingly, I gotta say. And this is kind of what we were saying going into it. The cards are kind of in his favor. The force is with him, if you will.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna have to see if SC can kind of get things together a little bit more on our second map, which is going to be Daybreak. So again, you know, not a map that Bio has been doing really well. I think SC is gonna have to try to play mech, or at least, you know, like Marine Tank. We're gonna see.
Yeah, well, again, it's just so hard to play Bio against a good mech player.
Exactly.
And GuMiho knew that SC was trying to switch, but GuMiho made sure that he could never really add more factories. And the best thing to use against Hellions is actually just Hellions. And if you have a Bio Ball chasing around Hellions, yeah, it can work if you catch them, but GuMiho's like, you can't catch my Hellions, and if you catch my Hellions, it's because my Hellions are with my Siege Tanks and all your Bio is dying.
Watching Bio try to chase Hellions is like a really sad Coyote versus Roadrunner cartoon, man. I mean,
Yeah, that's actually
the
a
Coyote
really
just
good
kills
analogy.
himself slowly over time. That's just how it is.
And the Siege Tanks are the TNT that blow them up.
That's right. The Hellions like set up a fake tunnel and then do it. Oh well, game time, guys.